Hi, this is Andrew from the Big Idea podcast focused on food. Today we're going to be talking to Astrid, the CEO and founder of Haofoods, spelt H-A-O Foods, from China. They're creating a solid white chicken piece made from peanut. Really interesting company, interesting product. Let's get into a conversation with them and find out how they'll be changing the world. Okay. Hello, Astrid from Haofood's. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Andrew. How about you? How are you doing there?
We are doing very well. The US is doing well. Where are you today?
I'm calling from Shanghai.
Okay, fantastic. So one of many great companies coming out of Asia. Really great to speak to you. So today's going to be a discussion. We're going to talk all about Haofoods, how you got the company started, what's the motivation for that, some of the interesting things that have happened along the way. So why don't you start by telling us about you and about Haofoods so that people can understand more. And that's Haofoods, spelled H-A-O and then food, correct?
Correct. Haofood. Haofood is a food science and technology startup from Shanghai that makes alternative chicken protein and tasty and nutritious plant-based chicken from peanut is our first innovation. Haofood actually stands for Hao and food. In Chinese, Hao means good food, But what does it mean by of a good food for us? A good food means food that is safe, tasty, nutritious, and sustainable at the same time.
Now the microphone on my end made a jump when you were telling us exactly what the product was. So tell me again. Yeah, tell me again what the actual food is, and then we can continue the discussion.
Sure. So Haofood is a food science and technology startup from Shanghai that makes alternative chicken protein. And our first innovation is a tasty and nutritious plant-based chicken from peanut.
Okay, so plant-based chicken from peanut. Perfect. And when you say plant-based chicken, does this look like a chicken breast? Does it look like a chicken tender or a leg, or what's the format once it's manufactured?
Yeah. So we are trying to mimicking the chicken breast. We come into several different formats. The first format is in patty, this big thick chunk of patty amounted 113 grams, so it's very fulfilling to eat one of it. And then we also comes in several different shape, from chicken thighs, chicken fingers, chicken meatball to chicken nugget at the same time as well.
Okay, so nice big chunky pieces of plant-based chicken. And you said you're made from peanut. I've never actually met a company before that's making plant-based meat from peanut. How does that work?
Yeah, so because we are in China, we are in Shanghai. During our first day of development, we went to the market. We listened to chef and foodies. What do they like and what do they don't like about plant-based meat? Eventually, in China, because every plant-based meat are based in soybean, it has taste, texture, aroma, and experience that remind consumer to tofu. At first, we don't understand it as well. What do you mean by plant-based meat and a tofu? Plant-based meat is plant-based meat, tofu is tofu, But then we realized because Chinese palate has a very deep memory on the taste of soybean, the result from we eat tofu every day, 3 times a day, then any type of taste of soybean reminds consumer toward taste of tofu, and consumer really expects to get a very different kind of product in plant-based meat. Because we're so used to tofu already. So we have to be more creative to find a way what are the right ingredients that is available locally in China that can be transformed as a plant-based meat, and it gives a very tasty experience as well. Being tasty is extremely important in China because Chinese palate is also very, very demanding, very sensitive, very complex. So they demand food must be very, very tasty. So we really, really find a way. How can we get a right ingredients for this? We tested so many types of ingredients, and then we got out that, oh, it turns out plant-based meat from peanut tastes better, and from our testing, consumers love it. So here we go, going with peanut as the key, as the chief ingredients.
Got it. So tofu is such a common ingredient in Chinese food that by making a plant-based meat out of soy is too similar. What made you choose peanut? Is it particularly available in China? It's kind of I didn't realize peanut was just so available in China. And how did you discover it as an ingredient source for this particular format?
So how do we find peanut? Well, actually, we tried so many types of protein, but then my partner, Professor Shouwei Liu, he is a local Chinese food scientist, very senior. He actually comes from Shantung. It is the biggest agricultural area in China, and he grew up with peanut as well. He grew up with peanut, and then he knows, like, oh my God, Astrid, actually we can make great product from peanut. Let's try that from peanut. And it matched very well with the Asian cuisine, actually, especially with Chinese cuisine. Because in China, we use lots and lots of peanut as peanut oil as the cooking oil as well. So when our plant-based meat from peanut meet the cooking oil made from peanut, then the taste will...
Got it. So if you're cooking, because you're frying and cooking with peanut oil, people are used to meats and so on, I'm guessing, having that slight peanut taste. So by making the plant-based meat out of peanut, it's an expected part of the taste. It's an expected part of the complexity of the taste of meat.
Correct. It gives a more meaty, more bold taste as well, and it's more umami because in peanut has a very high glutamic and aspartic acid that enables that peanut able to impart their own umami flavor. So the taste is bold, the taste is bold, and the taste is heavy. It's meatish. It's more meatish.
So take me from picking a peanut. I don't know. Do you pick peanuts? I actually know very, very little about peanuts. How do you go from peanut to plant-based chicken? How does that work?
It is actually very easy. So in China, peanut oil is like the second or the third largest type of cooking oil used in China. The industry is actually just taking the oil, and then they threw away and usually they threw away the protein from that peanut. So we pick up the protein, we process that again with extrusion, and then we transform that into our plant-based chicken.
So how do you collect the protein from the oil producers?
So we buy that from there's the producer that makes oil and peanut protein at the same time. So we collect that from them.
Got you. Okay, understood. So you take the peanut protein that's the remainder of the oil processing process. Good one, Andrew. And then you take that protein and you form it. Do you add other ingredients to change the overall taste or texture or any of those things?
Yes, of course. Right now we are using 9 different ingredients. The major one, of course, being water, and then after that, peanut. We are also using corn oil, corn oil, and then corn oil, flaxseed oil, and then corn oil, flaxseed oil, and then we're using also binders, and then finally we are also using the vegan chicken flavoring. That's all the ingredients that we're using. Not
So
too much.
they're nice and simple in terms of manufacturing. It's all very natural things. It doesn't sound like you're putting lots of, well, you're not putting chemicals and lots of different things in it to achieve that product.
We still need to use. I must say that we still need to use enhancement, like to bind all of the product together, whether we like it or not. We still need to use that, but the ingredients that we're using is actually already very simple and minimalist. We're like really need it, then we put it. Otherwise, push out.
Yeah. So if you don't absolutely need it, you don't put it in there. But I mean, you talked to me about flaxseed oil, peanut water. You mentioned another kind of oil, and then a binder. So apart from the binder, all of it is, what you would get in a farm or what you would get from a normal kind of agricultural process.
Totally, it's all simple ingredients that is actually we are already very close with that every day in our kitchen.
Perfect. Okay, so how long ago did Haofood start?
We were born last year, actually in the midst of pandemic in April 2020. We were born and then within a year we managed to have our first launch in the market. We had our launch in a restaurant all across Shanghai last March 2021. Sorry, last March 2021. And per today, we are already available at 20 different restaurants in Shanghai and in Shenzhen as well.
So this is your company. You started it. What made you want to do this?
I'm a foodie, Andrew. I'm a hardcore foodie. I love food so much. But then I know the way we eat today, I might lose my happiness from food because it's just too much for us for us, and it's not really sustainable. So tell me selfish, but I really want to sustain my happiness from food forever. So I think we just need to change the way we eat, and let's start it by ourselves. Let's not pinpointing everyone, and let's just start it from ourselves. That's from me, but another side is also from my daughter. So when my daughter was a little girl, 9 years old, we were having a very beautiful dinner. I remember clearly that it was in Hong Kong, and she suddenly said, "Mom, I'm not gonna eat this beef soup anymore, because that is my friend that I'm eating." So, and then from that point until today, she became vegetarian, and then I had quite a hard time as a mother handling a kid that suddenly wants to become a vegetarian in overnight basis because she keep crying, missing her comfort food, and I cannot handle it. So I thought this plant-based meat is a great idea because it will enable us to reduce meat intake easily, comfortably. So yeah, I just fall in love with this, Andrew.
So I really appreciate that you changed, you became a mother looking for a solution for a daughter who had decided not to eat meat because, she felt that these animals were her friends. You could have just said no. You could have just said you're eating the meat. You could have just said you're eating the meat. That's what we do. That's what the family does. That's what everybody does. You have to continue eating meat. But go on.
Yeah.
Tell us.
I think for parenting, there's no school for parenting. Usually we do parenting by tradition, what's passed to us, and then we pass that again. But if we keep doing that, then I think we're not not every tradition is a wholesome tradition. So I think when my daughter said that I want to give up meat for her reason because of animals, because her reason were animals were her friends, I think it is very positive. I should question myself back if I forbid my daughter at that time for doing so. I think she wants to do the right thing, and as a parent, I think I have to be more calm, see that and support that intention.
I absolutely agree with you. I think it's wonderful. Did it change? Did her decision change how you eat and how you see food?
Of course, totally. The way I think the only way for us to keep our health is when we eat healthy food from a healthy planet. That's how I see food right now. As long as our land is not so good, then then forget about the quality of food that we're eating to actually.
Perfect. Okay. So the company is only a year or so old. You've already launched it in Shanghai. You're in, I think you mentioned, just over 20 restaurants.
Correct.
How are people responding to your peanut-based chicken?
We have a very good response. We're very glad of, we get a very, very good response, especially when we cook our product as Chinese food. Then restaurant who cooks our product as Chinese cuisine, they just become really increasing. I'm very glad to see people enjoying our meat, and I'm very glad. Oh, sorry. There were an event around a month ago where we make a chef table inviting lots of people, vegan, non-vegan, and so on. And then one of the chefs were cooking chicken tikka, the Indian food. And then suddenly that night there were one consumer going back to the kitchen, tell the chef, I'm not gonna eat chicken. Do you know that I'm vegan? And you said this is a vegan food, but this is a chicken, so I'm not gonna eat it. And then we were all like bursting out loud, like, oh my god, that is actually our plant-based chicken. And they thought and someone thought that it was a real chicken. So until she cannot eat it because she thought it was too real, looking like chicken, and it's just so fulfilling, I would say.
How did you get the restaurants to take your product when this is not a normal type of cuisine in China, and plant-based meat, plant-based chicken is still a very quickly growing but still very small category in China?
Right, correct. We have to do it back. I'm a foodie, so I always enjoy eating in a restaurant. When I eat in a restaurant, I sit there, spend my time, and so on, build a connection with the restaurant people, build the connection with the chef, and so on. So we enter the market not from professional perspective, but from personal perspective. And then from there, once we got several restaurants that accept us, then we start getting word of mouth, and then we start getting feedback from consumers and so on. Then another restaurant is picking up, and keep on rolling like that. So no secret, actually, no sophisticated secret, no sophisticated strategy. We just do. I was just doing it from very personal level.
So you would sit down in a restaurant, you'd order a meal, you'd start talking to the servers, and eventually you'd maybe talk to the chef, and then you'd talk to them about what you did, and it would just go from there. Does that happen every time you go into a restaurant now, or do your friends and your family say, Astrid, this time just eat the meal and don't try and tell them about your product and get the product into the kitchen?
Well, for me, chef work is actually like my very, very favorite part of the restaurant is when I sit on the open kitchen, sit in front of the kitchen, and then talk with the chef, talk with the sous chef, see what are they doing. I think it's just so beautiful. Yeah, it still keep coming on. It's still coming on like this until today. And I think my husband he knows as well. When we go to restaurant, well, yeah, that's part of the SOP right now.
That's part of your experience with your husband. Okay, so it's available in 20 restaurants. Are they all doing the same style of food? Is it mostly Chinese style, or are some of them using it in different types of food?
It's quite varied, I would say. There are some that using it in Western application, some that is using it in Chinese application, even Indian application. But most of them are using it in, I would say, as the cosmopolitan application.
Okay. Now, obviously, in the United States, there are consumers who are allergic to peanut. So,
Of course.
does that mean that you won't be coming to the United States, or you would come to the United States with a different protein source, or it really doesn't matter right now because China is such a huge market that it might take you 10 years to get here anyway before you completely cover China?
Yes, indeed, China is a very huge market. But about talking about the United States, it's very interesting. It is a very interesting place for us to go because United States is definitely on a different level already compared to any other part of the world. We understand that there are many people are also allergic toward peanut, but we always communicate it very clearly. Hey, this plant-based chicken is made from peanut. The key ingredients is peanut. So it is actually up to consumer to try whether they want to take it or not. Because we already give information about that. And actually, when we talk about allergic, some people are also allergic towards soy. There's always be allergic towards something. So I think if we can give more variety, I think it will be more fun for people to try from one product to another and so on. I think at the end of the day, it's enrich their option.
The one thing I would say is when Haofoods becomes one of the most popular plant-based companies in China, you need to make sure they put on the menu maybe a special logo or something that lets people know that it's Haofood peanut. Because I know that there will be American vegans and vegetarians when they come to China will eventually want to try your food. And if they don't realize that it's peanut, then that could be quite interesting for the restaurant concern.
Indeed, it is part of branding, but also at the same time part of education. Education and informing actually. Hey, this is made from peanut. At one side, you can see that as a branding, but on the other side, it's also a label actually.
So I wonder if over the last year or so, while you've been starting Haofoods, there have been any challenging times or difficult decisions that you've needed to make?
Of course, there are lots of it. Lots of it. There's always be something every day. There's always be something every day, but it's still bearable, so it's okay.
So, I mean, think if you can identify at any point in time something that made you think about, okay, do I go in this direction or a different direction? I'm wondering if there's been any times in the last year or so where you've really had to just sit down and think about what you were going to do.
One of the biggest decisions that take us some time to contemplate and to think thoroughly is actually making a decision to choose chicken as our product. Why? Because obviously China eats more pork rather than chicken, but we choose chicken instead of pork. Everyone was challenging us like, oh, you're gonna have a better business if you're making it pork, and so on and so on and so on. But we sit down, we reflect and see again, the four founders, what kind of company are we going to, and what kind of product should fit well with our vision and mission. So we stick with chicken.
So you said chicken was something that came through in terms of your mission and your founding principles. What were those kind of what is that vision? What are those founding principles of Haofood?
So our mission is to sustain happiness from good food forever. And our vision is that we want to be international sustainable food companies that last for centuries. So for that, we need to make a product that speaks well in the international market. Yeah, speaks well in China, and then in other market. So what is it? It's chicken. So yeah, we stick with chicken. That is one of the biggest decisions that we make, and we got a challenge from everywhere. Like, why don't you just make pork, 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 pork? But no, we choose chicken.
And it sounds to be going well. 20 plus restaurants. How do you grow your business in the future? Is it very much by Astrid going and chatting to the chefs and the sous chefs in every time you go for dinner, or is there another strategy for growing more quickly?
No, of course not. It's just this way is only good for at the beginning, not really for us to scale up. So we are also having some distributors that are helping us right now, and then aside from distributors, we are also working with chef organizations and so on. So we enter the market faster.
Absolutely. From a manufacturing perspective, have you outsourced the manufacturing of the product to a third party, to another company, or do you manufacture the product yourself on a daily basis?
Right now, we outsource the manufacturing to co-packer.
Got it. Okay. And they're the ones who are taking the peanut ingredient and creating your recipe, as it were. From a production perspective, where do you see over the next 12 months the product and the company going? What kind of volumes do you think are possible?
So for the next 12 months, we will be producing at least 12. By the end of the year, we are expecting to produce at least 50 tons of product. So for the next 12 months, it will be above 200 tons of products. We see the next 12 months, when people think about plant-based chicken, they start to notice, plant-based chicken is supposed to be with Haofood. That's how we see. We expect that within 12 months from now, at least one out of 15 restaurants in Shanghai will offering our menu. Why 15? Because in Shanghai, there are so many restaurants that the amount of restaurants in Shanghai is actually 100,000 restaurants. So if we can cover only like 5% of it, it's already very good.
Perfect. So your initial strategy is restaurants. Do you see this product being available in other channels, whether it's grocery store or through other, maybe already cooked in a convenience store, 7-Eleven, etc.? What formats do you think this product works in?
So the next launch will be happening happening in a month or two from now. We will launch that first in e-commerce, because in China we don't really shop in supermarket anymore. Well, supermarket's still there, but I think last time I went to supermarket already 3 or 4 months ago. So we don't really buy in the supermarket. Everything is online. Our priorities for B2C is going for online. And then after that, we at the same time, right now, we are already preparing for convenience store as well. That will come into ready to eat format.
And that will be Chinese style, Indian style, cosmopolitan.
It will be mostly
all of the above.
Chinese and cosmopolitan. Chinese and cosmopolitan.
Absolutely, I heard it. Okay, so I think that's really interesting. So 12 to 1,500 restaurants in the next year or so, ready to pre-cooked, pre-prepared in convenience, and then also e-commerce.
Correct.
Perfect. So, okay. In terms of moving the business forward, where do you hope to be, or where will you be? Not even hope. Hope's a bad word, because I know you'll accomplish everything you want to accomplish. Where will Haofoods be in 5 years' time when you achieve everything you want to?
We will be in every leading cities in Asia Pacific.
Okay,
so every leading
not just China, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Korea, Japan.
Correct. We will be we want to be the most loved Asian brand for food.
So you don't. I think that's fantastic. You may never come to the United States, because why bother? You've got the whole of Asia to dominate. Obviously, awesome. So question for you: if anyone's listening to if anyone's listening to this, people are listening to this. What should they do to help you? What can they do to help you in China and in other places when they're listening to this podcast?
So if someone want to try plant-based chicken that is unconventional, made from peanut, let us know. We'd be happy to share more information and samples.
And where do they reach out to you? How can they connect with you, Astrid?
It can be to my email, astrid@haofood.co, or simply click on our website, www.haofood.co.
And that again, Haofood is
HAOFOOD.co.
Fantastic. Are you also on LinkedIn and Instagram, TikTok, and all those wonderful places?
For the Western world, we are in LinkedIn. You can search our name, Haofood, or my name, Astrid Prajogo. It's all there in LinkedIn. But aside from that, we are in Chinese platform. So we're in WeChat, and soon we'll be also in Xiaohongshu, in Douyin.
Okay, so they can find you on WeChat in China, and Astrid. Is it Astrid Maharani in LinkedIn?
It's Astrid Prajogo.
Okay, you're going to have to spell that last name for me so that people who are listening can make a note.
It is my first name, Astrid, Astrid, and then my last name, Prajogo, Prajogo.
Prajogo. Thank you, Astrid. That's fantastic. So if people want to get hold of you, they can do that through LinkedIn, they can do that through WeChat, or they can do that through haofoodnoes.co. And if they want to try your food, if they want to put your food in their restaurant, if they want to put your food anywhere at all, they should reach out to you.
Correct.
Awesome. Astrid, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I really look forward to people reaching out to you and finding out more about your company.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you, Coconut.
Coconut says thank you. For people listening, my dog just decided to make an entrance. Thanks for listening to the conversation with Astrid from Haofoods. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe so we can send you updates as we get more interviews. If this is on another format, another platform, please do like and add comments and engage with us. If you'd like to connect with Big Idea Ventures, please do so at bigideaventures.com. You can also reach out to me via either bigideaventures.com or LinkedIn. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.